You can imagine how terrifying it would be to be a pilot sitting in a small plane like this and have a bird hit the windshield. Take a look at what's left of this car. You know, we look inside and there's hardly anything left, everything burned away. Just look at one of the seats. All you can see is the metal frame. And how many times have you done this? One hand on the wheel, one hand on your cell phone. The alligator down here at Orchard Park, well, he's seen better days. There's still a little bit of graffiti left here on his nose. It's part of a larger outbreak that's hitting Bend Parks. And if you look across the highway there, you can see the staging area. This is where firefighters are preparing to head into the fire. If you want to see the action on any fire, you head straight to the fire lines. But that has its dangers. We are on the southeastern edge of the Bridge Creek fire. With the exception of thunder overhead, things are quiet.
Right now, it's just basically our concept is we anchor, flank, and hold.
Crews are digging lines around what was once a 2-acre fire. That was late afternoon on Saturday, before unexpected winds pushed the fire to over 1,000 acres in a matter of hours. Now it's grown to over 3,000 acres and is threatening one home, a particularly difficult result for the Forest Service.
This isn't an example that we use as a success story by any means for wildland fire use.
Wildland fire use is a new strategy the Forest Service is using, allowing some fires to burn naturally while being closely monitored. But the Bridge Creek fire took off, and now the Forest Service is working to slow the front lines.
The projected winds coming from the southwest, it's going to push those lines really hard today, or potentially really hard.
It might be hard for them to find a silver lining, but they need look no further than buckwheat.
We saw a handwritten note saying a lost dog. It was a blue heeler with a black eye patch.
Gary Davis found that note while posting fire information around the area to alert campers. And with food tents going up, buckwheat found his way to Davis and eventually back home. What I can tell you is it is busy down here. You can see this line of cars stretching behind me over to the ballot drop site. They tell me it's been like this all day. Now, for those of you that haven't gotten your ballots in, remember you have got to be in this line of cars or one of the line of cars at one of the official ballot drop sites by 8 o'clock. At each of them, there's a Deschutes County Sheriff's deputy. He marks the end of the line at 8 o'clock. If you're not in line at that time, your ballot is not going to count. Now, looking ahead to our coverage, we're going to move from here into the Deschutes County Media Room. And Media Room is the hub of election activity tonight. Just upstairs from that, at the Deschutes County Clerk's office, they're counting all the votes. As soon as they get some of the results, Deschutes County Clerk Nancy Blankenship brings them down to the media room. They post them up onto the wall. We've got a big screen there. We can watch them. We expect a lot of the candidates to be there. Of course, we're going to be there, and we're going to be updating you throughout the night, bring you all the election results as soon as they become available. Live in Bend, Matt McDonald, KOHD News. All right, Jay, I'm going to need your help with this. Call this one for me. Heads or tails?
Tails every time.
It is tails. Very good, Jay. Now, we all know the coin toss. It's a simple way to settle a dispute. And last night, with the Bend City Council deadlock 3-3, the decision about who would fill the empty seat on the council almost came down to the flip of a coin. The first day of school in this classroom is scheduled for September 8th. Right now, one of the challenges, getting all the books and supplies. And school organizers know the reality, it may not happen in time. We're here today with John O'Sullivan from Central Oregon Rush Soccer Club.
And to an extent, I'm going to take you to task. Now, this is your profession. How many of these things do you do? Isn't it fair to say, well, if we're going to be developing this and it is going to be impacting the highway, you have to do the repairs or you have to do the mitigation?
A Madras woman who pleaded guilty to stabbing her 20-year-old boyfriend with a kitchen knife was sentenced today. A monumental success measured by the arrival of a few small fish.
These are the first fish since the early 70s that have actually passed the Pelton Round Butte project.
10 years of planning, 2 years of construction, over $100 million spent on a massive construction project aimed at collecting salmon and steelhead. Fish that were reintroduced to the upper stretches of the Metolius, Crooked, and Deschutes River last year. 7 months late, the project is finally up and running.
This facility will allow us to capture the fish that in the past got lost trying to find their way out of Lake Billy Chinook, pass them safely to the lower Deschutes River. 2 or 3 years later, they come back as large adults.
It's a unique approach, the first of its kind in the world. Below my feet, under the surface of the lake, is the nearly 300-foot tall selective water withdrawal tower. It goes all the way to the bottom, pulling in water at twice the speed of the river downstream. Through a series of channels, pumps, and chutes, fish are sorted and the water is slowed from 7,000 cubic feet per second to just 1.5, just right for the 5-inch Chinook salmon arriving Friday. Not everything has gone smoothly. The project hit a major snag in April.
As they were assembling it, came apart and part of it fell to the bottom of the reservoir.
The accident caused a 7-month delay. A lawsuit is now pending with one of the contractors on the project. By Friday afternoon, 22 salmon have been collected, all part of what is hoped to be the first run that will return and migrate upstream of the lake in more than 30 years. Last week's bomb scare at Culver Elementary School has detectives looking for clues. And now they're being joined by 4 young investigators.
We're just looking at the reward money.
Prompted by a $500 reward, twin 11-year-olds Gordon and Brianne Wallinger, 9-year-old Dalton Deason, and 8-year-old Kylie Reed started their own investigation around this cafeteria table. They've searched the playground, finding notes they hoped were clues.
It said, "Please excuse Sky from PE today."
A dead end, but they continued. The investigation turning to a suspicious person Dalton had seen.
We went to go in the middle school to go look for a guy with a black leather coat.
Unfortunately, all they found was another dead end. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, this whole investigation, it's just child play. Well, perhaps you're missing the point. Gordon, Brianne, Dalton, and Kylie are serious, and they're serious about 2 things: catching the suspect and earning that reward.
Every little detail will matter, and who knows, it might lead to the suspect.
Stephanie Garber, Culver's elementary principal, said if she knows one thing from her years of teaching middle school, it's that kids talk. Having a team listening can make all the difference, and it's already generated one plausible lead.
Me and my friend heard him say that he has no friends, he hates the school, he can just blow it up.
Brianne reported the comment. The suspect was questioned, but it was another dead end, proving a lesson about investigations.
I learned that it can be hard.
Detectives from the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office are finding it hard too, saying they have yet to identify any suspects. Big changes. Housing, gas stations, even stores. What are you likely to find at one of these sites? I found bottles, cans, cars, tires, and more. In fact, I found enough to set up an entire living room, complete with a couch, coffee table, even a TV. Here's how it works.
The City of Bend can only charge a tax rate of $2.80 per thousand. The Fire District, $1.44. If voters approve the annexation, people in Bend would pay both. But the city would reduce its costs by $1.30. The net tax raise, only 14 cents. But what has some taxpayers concerned, in the future, the city can still charge the full $2.80. At that point, collecting the extra $1.30 takes only a vote by city council.
2 suspects, both described as white men with short blonde hair, wearing blue jeans and white t-shirts, stole his wallet. And you might be wondering how the owner feels watching his house go down the street. Well, it's time for a little confession. That house is mine, and I'm as nervous as you might imagine. One of the surprising things you discover while you're training are the little weaknesses you didn't know you had. For me, it's endurance in my shoulders. Now, while our butter is melting in the Dutch oven, we'll go ahead and get some of the rest of the ingredients prepared. We're going to chop up 1 medium-sized yellow onion. If a tax district is created, parks like Finley Butte here could see the creation of 2 more baseball fields. But for that to become a reality, property owners would have to vote yes in November. Hundreds of people showed up for a public meeting today to talk about the possibility of the Aryan Nation white supremacist group moving to John Day. Oregon State Police are leading the investigation into the death of a woman last night on Highway 26 in the rhododendron area. The victim has now been identified as 52-year-old Bridget McGowan. One step outside, you couldn't have missed it today. All that sunshine. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Adam Clark. Oh, you're going on vacation. You've been talking about this trip to Hawaii. While you're there, figure it out, and you can do the weather from there for us here.
I'd love to
While you're on vacation.
to bring work to my vacation. That sounds great, Matt.
I think it's a fantastic idea, Adam.
We would like to see